Hi, this is askSlim Live, July 27th, 2021. Information and support for traders and investors in a time of crisis and beyond. A little bit of legal stuff we have to do right over here. This slide says everything that we do is for entertainment and educational purposes, and you should always consult with your own financial professional before making any investment decisions. All of our live events are being held for our members, not included in memberships, created for a time of special needs. These events will be recorded. We're now recording every single one, so and they may be offered for public viewing. We always act to protect your identity. Your participation in this event is an acknowledgement that you understand and agree. And please refer to terms and disclaimers and full legal information on the website. Today's host, we have the whole analytical team here. I'm 47 years a stock trader, futures trader, options trader, was one of the early traders on the CBOE starting in 1974. I'm a cycle analyst pioneer for sure, as I took Hurst's teaching from profit magic of stock transaction timing, and then developed that into very more modern and involved style of doing analysis. I was a past hedge fund manager for a swing trade hedge fund, hosted askSlim on Tasty Trade for about 3.5 years every single day, and the founder and president of askSlim.com. Matt, 20-year technical analyst, a protege of mine. I took my coaching program way back about, 15 or 17 years ago. He's a former managed futures broker. He's an analyst. He's COO and director of product innovation here at askSlim.com. RV, 10 years in the industry. He ran the endowment fund over at Boston College. He's an MBA from Boston College, a CFA. He's a mentee of mine for more than 7 years. He's vice president of business strategy, lead cycle analyst here at askSlim.com. All right, so today what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a market brief, plus expand that out a little bit because there's some interesting news in the background. Matt is going to bring some information to you on what's coming soon at askSlim with a brief review of the great additions to our content and services. And then we'll have our express round where we're going to, all three of us will answer your Q&A. You have questions on our services, our trade planning that we offer, chart analysis, trading issues, any of that. You can ask those questions. Please put those questions in the Q&A. And keep your hellos and maybe questions about the website and stuff. You can put those in the chat, and we'll try to answer those as quickly as possible. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the markets here. First of all, a little test. Everybody raise your hand so I know you know how to do that. All right, great. That's great. We have a nice crowd in here today. People certainly interested in the markets. If there are any people in here that are on a live event for the first time, raise your hand. Interesting. We've got a number of people here for the first time, so great. I think you'll enjoy what we have to bring. Say hi, guys.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. How are you guys? Hey. Welcome.
Good. Glad to have you all. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the background. The Chinese market is, something really to behold, the action there in the Chinese market. The fact that the our stock market has been able to withstand what's going on there is really strange. And it actually could be explained by the fact that money actually may be moving out of Chinese tech stocks and into US tech stocks. That might actually have been helping the market to hold up. I've mentioned we've had a rolling correction going on in the stock market, with many indexes having lost significant percentages since some highs are in February, some highs are in May, and those have had pretty good declines. The Chinese market has been crushed, and I'm going to show you a few of those charts. And it's really been very much ignoring it. I think our stock market probably wouldn't have recovered if not for all the earnings reports coming out today and the Fed being tomorrow. And those earnings reports are pouring out. I think the only one that isn't out, well, I haven't seen Amazon or Apple, but Google was up big, Microsoft was down a few percent, AMD was up a little bit. So there were kind of mixed news that was coming out. And then, of course, the Fed Wednesday is a time when the market could move. And it would make sense that if the market was going to have a correction, it would happen around these earnings reports and maybe after the Fed. So that could possibly start. And we've talked about the risk into mid-August. Some of the tech stocks are set up for corrections out into later August. Money has been moving into the bond market pretty significantly and out of risk assets, as we've seen some of the commodities give back a lot of their gains. And silver market was crushed today at one point, came back some, but still down 50 some cents. And there's a little bit of dollar weakness, but it's kind of temporary. And Bitcoin, which had a massive short squeeze, perfect timing for that based on the analysis we showed, as it moved up from 30,000, bounced off of that to 34, and then all of a sudden was trading over 40,000 seemingly in minutes, pulled back some after that. That was a lot of bull crap about Amazon taking on Bitcoin, and then it started to settle back a little bit, but it's pretty firm, and we do think Bitcoin's going to stay up for a while. So I want to look at some of these other things before I look at the S&P 500, just so you can get a sense, because I think a lot of people are not really following some of these things in China. Let's just take a look at what the BIDU stock has done. As you can see in here, is this stock has lost about 40% of its value here, and fallen from about 210 all the way down to 150 just in the last 5 days. I mean, it's been just absolutely huge. And Alibaba, pretty much the same thing. What's happening in China is that there's a huge crackdown going on right now. It's focused at the moment on their educational technology sector, which they're actually forcing it to go private. The stocks in that category are down 90 to 95%. I mean, it's been a complete wipeout, and there's been just a bail going on out of the Chinese stocks. I want you to see in here on this chart, this is the large caps for a China ETF, FXI, and that's down 29.7%. Off of its high over here. And this, remember that this is the second largest economy in the world, and that when you have things going on like this, it's just an amazing thing that our market has really been able to hold on. But the Chinese tech stocks have been under huge pressure all across the board, and I think that some of that money is finding its way into the U.S., and that's probably held our stock market up rather than causing it to go down. But there's some angst, I think, that will be coming from all of this. That is a massive decline. I mean, 30% crash in there that you see just basically since last March. So coming down to the 78.6% of the entire big rally off of the pandemic low. So that is really a lot of weakness as we see there. Let's just take a quick look here as we look at the Nasdaq, because the Nasdaq is where I think the money has gone into. Take a look at the weekly chart here. Oops, that's the daily. And here's the weekly. So you can see the timing in there. I mean, it's really held up well. And this big spike to the upside last week on that, I've had a lot of questions whether or not that's an engulfing pattern, which could be deemed as bullish. That is engulfing patterns, bullish engulfing patterns don't happen at highs. They happen at lows. So that's really not that. If anything, that could really be a blow-off type of a candlestick right there. So that really remains to be seen. But now we're in this period over these next few weeks where there is a lot of risk in here. The only question is it going to be down 5% in the correction, 7%, which is about what this one was right over here, 7-8%? Or is it going to be deeper than that? Or is it just going to be a chop sideways and go straight up to some levels that I could not possibly explain if that happened? But overall, we're in this area where there should be some correction. And I think that the market did benefit from money moving out of the Chinese stocks. But when they take another look at that, that may not be the case going forward. If I look at the daily chart here in the Nasdaq, you'll see that we have that evening star reversal pattern right in there, which is suggestive of the point that that is the high right exactly on that fib extension level right over there. So that would be an interesting point to peak. If it got under 14,495, it would be a clear breakdown and signal that that top was in place, which is about 500 and some points from here. So it's a long way down before you really get a solid breakdown on that. The weekly chart there, as you can see, the daily chart here. I want to go to the SPY, which I showed in the Market Week show, which shows you those 3 occasions where you had corrections essentially look like they were starting in the cycle. Then you had one more blip to the upside here with a big upside week, and then it turned down on a 19th week peak. You could see right there. Did the same thing right over here. It looked like you had that decline started. You had one more big upside spike and that peak, and the peak on the 22nd. On the 21st week, see, it only fell for 2 weeks after that. And now right over here, you could see what we're having is that peak right on that 20th week, if that was the peak, and then the likelihood that it would come down over the next, let's say, 3 weeks or something like that. A sharper decline that we've had. But again, what we're looking at are these support levels here that would be down 5.3, 7.7, 9.5% in that. So we're in this window of time period where that big break is, that period of risk. I've gotten some emails about this still being on the chart and confusing people. Well, I left this up here for credibility purposes because most of you know that we've had this on the chart for months, where we looked for a decline into August for about 11%. Down over here would be 12%, but now the likelihood of that is less than it was before. Much more likely it'll be that, 5.5 to maybe 7.5%, something like that. We'll just take a look at the SPX chart so that we can round out this analysis, which of course are going to look pretty much the same as what we just showed you, as this weekly chart right here. And the no downtick at all, just that big upside week that you see there, and the likelihood that the next few weeks are a decline, and the complex cycle structures that you see right in here. You can see that every one of these that you look at, these last 5 on these 20-day cycles, have been positive. Every one of them making higher highs, every one of them making higher bottoms. And well, not everyone. This was a question right over there. And then now making a higher high. And again, the important level over here, 42.33. If it breaks that, then you have a potential for a free fall, but it takes a free fall to get there. So what good is that information, right? It's already, that would be 200 points down from here to get to that level. That might be, all of the decline, where it gets down to this level over here, about 41.30 or so on that, and that would be probably the completion of that whole correction in there that we're looking at. And again, after that all would happen, we'd be in a condition to have another rally, and that would likely take you, depending on the amount of any correction in here, to significant downside, significant upside movement, and get to likely new highs. If it was a huge decline in this next few weeks, which we're not expecting, that would be then setting up for a market that would probably more like test the highs than make any significant upside movement. Here on the daily chart, you can see it gets up into that fib extension level, and now was looking like a pretty good decline today. S&Ps were down 45 points. But then only finished down 20 points. So that is a look at the indexes. I mean, to sum it up, basically, we're in this window where there should be a correction. Investors have to be nervous looking at China. They certainly are not showing that yet in the indexes. And I think that's because of these earnings reports coming out and the Fed. I think after tomorrow, there is risk that we do set into some downward movement in here that may be the correction we're looking for, and maybe something significant. So that's it. Let you guys take it over, Matt. It's
All
all
right.
yours.
Yep. Thanks, Slim. Great analysis and instruction as usual. All right. On this next brief segment, I'm just going to take a quick look at what's new and coming soon. So I'm going to share my screen. All righty. Harvey, can we see the what's new and coming soon slide?
Yes, sir.
All right. So quick run through here. So this is today, tomorrow, the last call for an opportunity to upgrade with our special trial offer pricing and lock in current membership rates. Anyone and everyone who's a premium member as of our transition date, which will be tomorrow, will be grandfathered in at current pricing. So any of you that are already premium members, there's no changes, except if you wanted to upgrade, this is the last chance to take advantage of that special 3-month trial offer and then convert over into and lock in the current quarterly rates that we have. So if you're interested, reach out and let us know. You can email me or team at askSlim. So we have a big enhancement coming to the askSlim trade planning worksheets. So I know we have a number of new people that are on the call. So I'm just going to take about 3 minutes real quick and talk about that. So our trade planning worksheets, they are available for all premium members levels 1 through 4. And you find those in your workbench area on your dashboard. So if I just go back to my dashboard real quick, you can see that there in the navigation is a link here for workbench. So if I click on workbench, that will then open up all the trader hub area, and I can click on worksheets here. And let's see, now when I'm in the trade planning worksheets, you can create a new worksheet here. And I did that already here. And then if you click that, that will open up the area where you can do your trade planning. So if you haven't used this, I would suggest you take a look at it, get familiar with it, because this is where a nice big upgrade is going to be coming. What this allows you to do, it's essentially a cloud-based storage solution where you have the ability to easily organize, prioritize, save, and track your technical analysis. So as you look at, let's say you have multiple monitors on your desk and you're looking at our charts, your charts, what have you, and you're going through the charts and you want to do some trade planning, this is a great tool to be able to save that information, organize that information. You don't have to use scratch pads, sticky notes, spreadsheets. You can do it right in your askSlim account. Now, to help create a more efficient opportunity to help get you started with this, what we're going to have in terms of the enhancement is that we are going to pull over information, portions of our analysis right from our ranking system. So anyone who's a level 3 or 4 member has access to our complete focus list. There's 84 symbols in here, and we have key technical insights that we provide, and a portion of that is going to get pulled over into the worksheet, again, to make it more efficient for you to get started with this trade planning. So as an example, the cycle low dates and the charts. So there's charts that are available in the ranking system, as you can see here. You click on the weekly or daily chart. The level 4 members have access directly to our live charts that they can import, save, and open on their own TOS platform. But levels 3 have access to the static charts here. And what we're going to have in the worksheet is our cycle low dates. So those key dates on both the daily charts, weekly charts, and then also the actual static charts themselves. So as you're walking yourself through the information, if you don't have it pulled up on another monitor, you can easily access those charts as reference right in your trade planning worksheet. So there'll be more and more of these types of enhancements coming to the trade planning worksheets. Depending on your membership level, if you're level 1 and 2, there'll probably be a set of maybe 10 symbols that will be pre-populated with this information. And if you're level 3 or 4, all of the focus list symbols will be pre-populated into a default worksheet. So you'll have at the top here the askSlim focus list that you'll be able to take a look at each and every time you want to do your trade planning. So we're excited to bring you that. That should be coming, I would say, by next week. All right. Next.
Matt, let me interrupt 1 second here.
Ahead,
I don't
Slim.
see any questions coming through. I want to tell everybody they can put the questions in the Q&A, and I'm wondering, because there's no questions, if that's even turned on.
If it's not turned on, then let's have them put them through the chat. It should be should be turned on.
Oh, there they come. Okay.
I think
Wonder
everybody's
what was
just
going
maybe
on
being.
there.
All right, I can see someone putting in a couple test questions. Good.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, George.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump back in here. There's going to be a usability improvement coming to chart streams. So for those of you in levels 3 or 4 that use our chart streams, one of the usability issues that we have is related to wondering when the chart stream channels go live in the morning. So what we've done is we've set up an automated system that will track, that'll be red when the markets are off and the streams are completely down. It will go yellow when we're working on the streams, and then you'll see it go green when the streams are live. So there'll be no more wondering when the streams are up and running. You won't have to guess because it is a range of time depending on how volatile the markets are, depending on what else is going on. That we get these up somewhere between 8:05 and 8:45 a.m. typically. But now you'll be able to see because it'll go from red to yellow to green, and green means they're live. Okay. Next, expanding the use of TradingView charts. So we are trying to establish another charting platform, and right now we're looking at TradingView to have a more global opportunity to utilize our analysis, our proprietary indicators. So we are going to be expanding our use and testing of TradingView, and we would like you to be part of our beta test group. You need to be a level 3 or 4 member. So if you just email me if you're interested, we'll probably look to get maybe about 10 people involved in a beta test group. So if you're interested in checking that out and helping us with that process of expanding our utilization of TradingView, let us know. All right, and finally, we have some really awesome special askSlim live webinars coming in August. I'm going to be hosting probably a couple or 2 to 3 times a week for a few weeks here, even maybe starting next week for sure. I'll get 2 in. We'll be doing trade planning and trade ideas live. So that should be a lot of fun. We'll be walking through the methodology as Arvi does, that he does in the videos, the trade ideas that he posts. We'll be doing some of those live. I will be focused on the index ETFs. So we'll look at the SPY, the Qs, IWM. I know there's a ton of interest in that. So we run our chart streams on. We do our daily snapshot on that, our SIR. Weekly is on the cash indexes, but we'll be looking at these trade ideas in those indexes, index ETFs. Slim's going to offer an unbelievably cool trader coaching live session. That's going to be one of our askSlim live shows that we do. We're looking at August 24th. Is that right, Slim?
Yeah, we're looking at August 24th. I'll just say a little bit about that. That's going to be a very special session. It's going to be probably at least 90 minutes. And what we're going to be offering is that to a group of our members, the ability to participate in live coaching. In order to do that, we're going to need to send a form over, a release form. And then you will be coached live. You'll have an option to be either on camera or not on camera. I prefer on camera, in front of everybody, essentially. And this is only going to be around personal issues, around things that may be getting in your way about keeping you from being the best you could be as you engage in the markets. I'll be opening that up with a essentially a little workshop on something that I call the risk manager, the part of us inside that is meant to keep us out of trouble, but actually keeps us from being as successful as we could be. So I'll be doing that workshop. That'll probably be about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I'll probably coach each person for about 20 to 30 minutes. So there'll be 3 people. So there'll be people that will be able, we'll be sending out some emails and inviting people to participate in that. And you'll have to respond, let us know what the issue is that you want to discuss. And also, as I said, you'll get the release form to be able to participate in that. So it's going to be a very unique session for those of you that are not aware. I've been a certified facilitator in personal growth work since 1996. I have led 22 different groups. I have led workshops on the shadow and that part of us inside that's our risk manager, and countless people that I have coached one-on-one, and I'm certified in emotional intelligence. So a lot of things that I've brought together on a personal side along with the things in the trading side. And that's the basis for my coaching programs, which are now basically not available. So it really felt important for me to do this particular live event. I think each person that does their own work helps other people learn. You will resonate with the work that other people do. I promise you that. So I think you'll find it absolutely amazing. And that's August 24th. And you should really put that on your calendar.
Thanks, Slim.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Okay. Any questions that came up regarding what's new and coming soon? Do you see anything, RV?
Somebody wants to know, can they sort? I believe it's on the rankings by sector or industry.
On
George
the
asked that.
rankings, no, we can't. We don't have it segmented out by industry. We have that in the momentum tracker. There's canned lists, but you can
Right.
sort by. Let me jump over to the ranking system just so people can see how you sort. You can sort by directional bias, by symbol. So you can see that. You can sort by the directional bias. You can sort by market outlook. You could sort by the various technical conditions. And that's what we have currently for sorting.
Look at that BABA. I mean, we saw it lost 40% of its value. That's been right across the board for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really great.
Yeah.
Great in a way that it's identified
Well, I mean,
as being bad.
you're right.
Yeah.
Give you a heads up.
Cool. Put up the momentum tracker for a second so they can
Sure.
see the group, the way the groups are sorted in there.
Sure, I'll do that.
So the difference, of course, between the ranking system and the momentum tracker is that one is 3 to 6 weeks, one is 3 to 6 months.
Right. And then with the ranking system, we also overlay our intermediate cycle analysis is included in that. All right, I'm pulling over the momentum tracker. So in the momentum tracker, there's a variety of lists that you can sort through and look at. So if we look at the Nasdaq, and then you can sort by symbol, directional bias again, various technical conditions.
Right. And the chart in there, of course, is different because it focuses on the longer term.
Yes, and the chart that we offer inside of here, so if you look at Apple, is a look at the bias, the overall directional bias, the condition. And what we do is we highlight when there's major shifts. So you can see for as much volatility, right, that there's been with Apple, our output in terms of the directional bias only had one indication of something that went neutral. Otherwise, it's been telling you to stay long for several months.
Yeah. Raise your hand out there if you didn't even realize those charts were available here on the momentum tracker.
Oh, well, I'm glad you pointed that out then.
Yeah.
I know we have a number of new people. So
right.
we have so much to offer within these tools. And each tool has a very specific purpose. And this one here is to give you a sense of the directional bias at that longer term time frame based on our proprietary momentum indicators. So we've blended these with a higher weighting to the intermediate and longer term, but yet still take into consideration that short term.
Type in BABA. I'd love to see what that chart looks like and when it gave a negative signal with all these Chinese stocks going down for these months.
Let's see if I can. Is it down here?
Is it in the system?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's been.
Where'd the arrow go?
Here we go. Let me just try to look at it from a.
There we go.
Yeah, so it's been ugly for.
Oh wow.
For a long time.
Right. So you get
that's the great thing. I mean, if you want to get a sense of bias and you believe in momentum like we do, and we believe in it because we've seen it on the charts over and over again, the impact that provides in terms of giving you an edge on bias, It's been calling it out now for
That's great. Appreciate it.
several months. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. Enrique is asking, how do we get a walkthrough for the features for level 4?
They want to get a walkthrough on level 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably set up a group opportunity over the next couple weeks for everyone. So look for that. Look for an email in the next couple weeks to do an overview, because I know we have a lot of new members and there's a lot of interest in level 4. So look for that.
We have Toby that said, I love the streams. There you go.
Cool. Good to hear.
Yeah. I'm looking for what else we have in here, if there's anything more for you. I don't even see anything for Arby in the equity side either.
There's one question, Matt, from Ron on what is the N arrow on the tracker? What does that mean? The different color.
The N here, this means negative. So this is a negative condition. So we have a negative condition indicator. So in terms of momentum, that's what we call it.
Excellent.
Yep. And, yep.
I think that's it. Yeah.
And just some comments on the things that you shared there.
You can see it like Slim in RV. You can just see it with the SPY. It's just
wow.
it's been screaming positive bullish for months,
Amazing.
from a longer term perspective.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you can't trade the wiggles, but there hasn't even been that many wiggles to trade.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Justin's asking, do we have Bitcoin in there?
I believe we have
We have GBTC.
We have GBTC. I'll have to take a look at that one because the cryptos fluctuate with the data feed. So let me just make sure it's still in there before I comment on that one.
Okay. Manaz says he would love to see our grids on TradeStation. I think we're a ways away from that one. And Ryan says trading view charts and live coaching would be awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you.
Cool. Good to hear.
What do you have that? What's that?
No, I said that's great. It's good to hear that they're interested in the trading view charts. I think that those are the most, what would you say, probably for us, the most compatible in terms of what we want to be able to do with our members, in terms of all the annotations, our indicators, the ability to share. Because it's not that there's an easy conversion from TOS to TradeStation or from TOS to anything. So everything that we do is handcrafted, and we're going to have to find a platform that allows us to be able to globally share in a more, in a way that is, the sharing is easy.
Ken is asking, is there a monthly time frame available for gold and the S&P 500? Well, we just showed the SPY. So I'm assuming he means on the momentum tracker.
Yeah, so gold at the moment is slightly bearish. You can see that it's been choppy, had a little shift to slightly bullish here, neutral. Now it's slightly bearish at the moment from a longer term perspective. Intermediate's negative, short term's neutral, and neutral in the longer term.
RS is asking, is it possible to stream the Dow?
It's possible. It just requires, on our side, there's a lot of operational effort and resource that goes into each one of our streams. So we're working on ways to expand that doesn't require so much resource. And that's part of what maybe we might be able to do through TradingView, and at a minimum be able to provide our indicators, maybe not all of the custom cycle analysis, but our indicators, so you can get a sense of the conditions. So that's something that we want to do in the next probably 2 to 3 months, is look to expand that out.
There's one for you, Arby, coming up on BABA and BIDU. And Ron says Apple stock dropping. It's only down $1 something, Ron. So I don't think it's that much to make that big of a difference yet, but we'll see. Toby says he already mailed you to be in on the beta test.
Very good. Yeah, I mean, that momentum tracker really helps if you're a longer term trader, active investor on the right side of that trend.
And Scott has an interesting comment in here, and I think it's going to be answered in your coming up video live shows. Said I'd really like to see a video on how to use the Thinkorswim chart stream indicators and a combination for swing trades when we enter and when we exit based on the indicators. I think that's what you're going to be showing. Is that right?
For sure, yes. We'll be walking through at the multiple time frames what we consider to be our guidelines for the highest probability bullish bearish setups.
Okay, great. David says the work you guys do is incredible. The educational videos a huge help. Thanks for everything. Thank you, David. And also request for Boeing there on the chat.
Yep. See it. Got it.
Okay. You want to take it? You want to take a look at Boeing and the Chinese stocks, BABA and BIDU?
Sure. Yeah. Let me just
Sure.
just bringing over some of these drawings here. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Let me go ahead and take over the screen.
Sure. In the meantime, BN Cruz says, do you have QQQ? We don't have the work separated off of the cash indexes, so I already showed the Nasdaq, which is basically the same as the QQQ.
Now, Slim, we do have in chart streams, Arby and I do.
Oh, you do have it in chart streams. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We do work on the Qs.
Yeah. So that's you're seeing right there what the live chart streams would look like with the support resistance on it and our indicators.
Yep, and the cycle work.
And the cycle work. Great.
Mm-hmm. Should I go ahead and take over the screen or?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's look at BABA. So BABA's been, pretty negative for quite some time, for really months, right? If you look at this weekly low right here was lower than that prior weekly low. We had the rally in this move here, right? That failed and then rolled back down. So that really behaved well. This low was lower than that low. We had a failure here. So this is really just behaving perfectly and really moving down in this really clear downtrend, right? So the next low is not due for another few months. So what that says is, yes, we have earnings coming up here. It looks like if I highlight it, 8.3 in the pre-market. So just, keep that on your radar. But rallies are likely to fail here in BABA, and this is still a very negative pattern. Now, given that, if we look at the daily chart, you can see lower highs, lower lows, moving its way down. Now we can see we've moved down a lot in a very short window of time, right? Obviously from 214 just 4 days ago, all the way as low as 180. So we also have a low due here. So what we're looking at is a little bit of a rally likely, and then for this to roll back down. So that's really what this looks like here in BABA. So a little bit oversold here on the very short term, but overall patterns on the weekly and daily are negative. If you look at BIDU's pattern is a little bit different in terms of its timing. BIDU, you can see in this Archegos, I think it's the like hedge fund that blew up. He was really heavy long BIDU and levered and had to blow out. So that's why you saw this huge sell off. And since that point, it's just been really working its way lower. Couldn't get any rally here. You can see it just went sideways and then has since worked its way back down.
For those of you students, there's your perfect left-hand translation.
Right. So like early high formed here and then selling off here, right? So you can see that. Now we have a low due coming up here in the next few weeks. So we'll be watching for a little bit of a bottom to form. But again, this low is lower than that low. So we would look for rallies that would fail and then work their way back down. So that's really the longer term patterns are all very negative in BIDU. Daily chart, you can see what we have on the daily. Also, it was very range bound for months. So it was just very, very choppy and is now turning down. Let's see if I can modify this so it's a little more visible. Here you go. So we're looking for a short-term low to form in the next week or so, and then to get one more rally. But once more, we're seeing a lower low that's forming, right? So we'd still look for this to get one more rally, and then watch for a move back down. Now, let's say what would cause change. So that's something that you always want to be aware of. Let's use this fib tool from the recent swing highs to the swing lows. We have a level at 197.16. That would be our level on the upside. That would say, okay, maybe we have now formed the low because we are looking for a bottom to form on the weekly. Maybe we have formed the low, and then we would be looking for a move, a little bit more than what I have just mentioned, meaning we'd be looking for a move maybe to look back at this old high around 210 or so. So that's really what we're looking at. A short-term low is due relatively shortly. Look for a rally, watch to see how well it does on that rally to tell us what's going on here on this weekly time frame. So that's really the picture in BIDU. There's a couple of others. What was that other one? On the chat
It was
here.
Boeing, right?
Boeing, yeah. Let's look at Boeing.
And BYND. Oh, Beyond. Sorry, Beyond and
Yeah,
Boeing. I don't think
don't
we
know
have
if I.
Beyond, do we?
No, I don't. I haven't looked at Beyond Meat in quite a while, but I can see if I have any updated work on that. But so what's going on here is likely an early high here in Boeing that's formed. We were looking for a low to form. We got the rally, early failure below that key weekly low there, right? Which is that this cycle has likely turned down, and we look for rallies to fail until that next low formed, which is way out near the end of the year. So Boeing, as we noted here on 7-7, is in a bearish pattern and possible signs of an early high. If we look at the daily, you can see pretty bearish setup here. Got very choppy, a little bit unclear here, getting more clarity here now. Had an early failure on this rally right here, broke that key daily low, right? So we're looking for rallies to fail. Now, we do have earnings coming up here, I believe. If I highlight it, 728 in the pre-market. So we'll have to see what happens here in Boeing. But overall, currently it is a bearish look here based on everything we're looking at on the weekly and daily. So that's what we got. Let's see if there's anything else that came up here.
Before you switch that chart,
Mm-hmm.
there's a question in here from Enrique who wants to know, can we get an example of how you get the short-term resistances? This is a good chart to show that.
Sure. Yeah. So what we would look at, so these zones here, these red zones, if we use the fib tool, we like to use prior highs and prior lows to get our to use the fib tool. So we'll use the fib tool here. We'll use this high and then that low, because that's this high, right? And then that's the high of that move. And then we have the most recent lows. So if we do it, we can look here and you can see we're looking right there between 218 to 227. That's the zone where we would look for a failure here in Boeing, given this overall bearish daily cycle structure that we have here is a failure in this zone. And you can also see that this is lining up with the slim ribbon here as well. So this is all lining up for a failure in this zone, and then I'm moving back down. That would be barring something large happening on earnings, of course, because we don't know what's going to happen on earnings. Earnings are always a coin flip kind of look. So there's, obviously we don't know what's going to happen on earnings. It could move higher from here. It could move lower. We don't know. But currently what we do know is that we would look for this to really be a look like that flag, and then get one more test down into that next daily cycle timing, which is due out in mid-August. So that's
Harvey,
really the overall picture there.
Or if you just did a draw from that June high to the recent low, just to give someone a sense of some higher fib areas in case there was a pop on earnings. So
yeah, so if there is a pop and it gets up into this 232 to 238 zone,
Right.
that it could also look there. But I mean, realistically, if this is correct, right, and this is the if this low is not here, right, if let's just say this was that low versus here, right, we really wouldn't want to see Boeing trading back up here, because that would say that something about this
changed.
overall cycle is is like no longer valid, right? Meaning we have to look at this again. So you would really rather see a failure somewhere in this zone between 232 to 225, and then a rollover back down. So that's really what I would be looking for. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Do you have anything on plug?
Yeah, we get plug a lot actually. So
do we?
Plug is a pretty common chart request from us. So this is plug power. It's been, as we all saw in that huge massive spike, and then really a failure. Now moving lower here, we have a low due 8.9 to 9.20. So still have a little bit more time on the downside. Very range bound. After a huge move like this, a lot of times you don't see a lot of large moves. It just kind of starts to do like a whole lot of nothing. Just kind of go sideways for a while. That's really what's happening. Daily chart, bottom formed on time, sold off. We're looking for a little bit more downside. There's a low due 7:30 to 8:12. So that's really the time frame for the low, and that is also in line with the next earnings, which is 8:05 after hours. So look for a little bit more on the downside. One more rally attempt, but once more, look at this picture. If I zoom out, this is just a big range. Yes, it's a very nice range, but this is really just a big range that's forming here in plug. So
good. Put Tesla up, please.
Yep. So this is Tesla. Yep. So Tesla weekly chart. Didn't see what I saw that it looked like it was up a little bit in the after hours last night after earnings, but it looks like it didn't do a whole lot today, down small here. We have a little bit, we have a low due, right? So we have a low due 719 to 96. So we are at risk for one more dip on the downside prior to forming that low and then getting another test up. But note that this low is already looking at that old low right there. So this is a little bit of a warning sign. So watch what happens in this next rising phase here. Watch if that fails, then rolls back down. So that's something that we're just looking at. But overall, looking for a couple of weeks down, and then one more rally back on the upside.
As long as you're still firing, do you have when you get done with that? I think we skip beyond.
Yeah, I don't have
you don't have
beyond me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the updated work on that. Daily chart, as these have actually been quite clear. You can see rally, sell off, right? That's that cycle right there. Rally, sell off, rally, early high, left hand translation, right? So note really what happened here. You always want to note these things because you don't see them that often, but it's something that you always want to know, like, what am I looking for? What are you looking for? You're looking for a rally that then breaks the low early and then stays below that low. Notice we had one little test here. Then we stayed below that low and then sold off really nicely on the downside. What happened after that? Formed a higher cycle low right there, higher low relative to the prior low, broke out through that prior cycle high in this next rising phase. So acted beautifully right there. Pull back here into this daily low and now starting to range. Now, given where we are in that weekly cycle, we would look for this to turn back down one more time. So how does that look on the daily? That says down here, look for one more dip into early August, another attempted rally, and then likely one more push down into that next daily timing. So that's really what it is shaping out to us at the moment here in Tesla.
Great. I'm going to take it back from you.
Please go ahead.
Got about 15 more minutes or so I want to try to fire through a bunch of these questions in here. I have two people that are asking me, and I've had people writing me about when is my next big picture analysis on the stock market, or when will be my next update for the big picture of the stock market. I admit I have been waiting to see the depth of the coming correction, whenever that comes, in order to do that. Now, the market has made it, has given me challenges in here because that correction has not come yet. So I'll be able to do a much better job at that when I do have an anchor point on the intermediate charts. So that's why I've delayed on that. I was hoping to bring that out in the first week of July or so, around mid-year point, but I'm just not ready yet. So hopefully it'll come in the next month. We have RV who's going to be taking some time off in here for a couple of weeks. So hopefully if everything goes according to plan, I'll do that on a Thursday video when I bring that. So we'll just have to see how obliging the stock market is for me to bring that. So Ray asked about that, Ken asked about that, and I've gotten quite a number of emails about that also. All right, so let me take some of these questions that are in here that I see. Terry's asking for RUT and TLT. Here's the Russell right here. And let's just go to the weekly first, which is where I always start out. And you can see in here that the Russell's actually been in a correction all the way since March. It's been a sideways correction, just choppiness, and the low caps, small cap stocks have been really suffering in here, and that's unusual in a low interest rate environment because they're such heavy borrowers. They usually do better. The time frame for this corrective period is out into around the last week of August or the very beginning of September. So there is still downside risk, and remember, the heaviest risk is in the last weeks. So you could easily get a move down in close to the 2000 area here in the Russell. There's another question in there that said, was the action in the Russell related to the action in the Chinese stocks? And I don't have a good handle on that. I just don't think that I can answer that in an intelligent way. If somebody does have an answer on that, you can write it to me, or if you put it up here, then maybe we can share it. But I'm not exactly sure about that, to tell you the truth. Here is your TLT right here. Did I forget the Russell Daily? I did. Let's go back there. And here's your daily, here's your complex structures. You can see that like RV did in the swing high, swing low analysis. Now look, you can see all this sideways action. This right over here is the 20-day cycle that's appearing on all of the indexes right now. This is a 40-day cycle right in here. The principle of nominality suggests that the 20 and 40 are reoccurring. 20, 40s, 80s. I don't prescribe to that, though the 20 has been pretty consistent in the indexes. Here you can see you had a positive cycle and it went up and tried to make a new high and then broke that low right there. That was a warning, and then it came down. Now look at the swing high, swing low analysis in here, where it had this big break and then came down and hit these fib extensions, and then came up here and nailed that 100% fib extension right there, which was in the resistance area, and then started to come down again. So when I look at this 40-day cycle right over here, that gives you a sense that there's a possibility it comes down into the first week of September. So that's why I get that timing of the early part of September as a possibility. Here is the 20 day right over here. I think I said 20 week, 20 and 40 day. It's actually set to 19 on this chart. So that looks like we're entering into a period where is some pretty good risk looking at that. So I would say the downside favors the upside when you look at this still. TLT, which is the 20-year, had a move to the upside after that reversal day that you see right in there. That's not the right one. Let me just get this up properly. There you go. A reversal day. It has a few weeks of potential chop on the downside in here. Let me get the daily up right over here. There you go. So you can see this looks like if it tries to pull back a little bit, it's going to go straight back up again. So a lot of thick support in there. The slim ribbon it's been riding up in there. Look at the slim ribbon PO. I mean, just great signals in there. There's a question about the slim ribbon PO I see it in the chat over there. Question is, should you wait till it gets, should it be oversold before you have a signal, or do you wait for the arrow before you have a signal? Well, it's an interesting question. It really depends on the configuration of the slim ribbon. You don't get the signal till it turns back up over the 25, but you could act in advance of that when the slim ribbon is moving up steeply, because you're pretty much certain you're going to get those arrows in there. If you want to be a little bit more careful, you can wait until the arrows come in. So that's, you can see the great value using that right there in TLT. TNX, when you look at the 10 years, and I'll show this tomorrow again when we do the Future Speak show, right in here, I don't have all of these set up on the proper analysis. You can see I have to reset them. There you go. So you can see that really we're in a period in here where yields, the decline in yields look like they're going to stop on the downside fairly soon. It might be in this gray area right over here where that really happens, which would be in alignment with a point in the next few weeks where the stock market, if it corrects, you'd expect the bid to come into bonds, which you would expect that there would be a decline in yields. So that then takes you out into the second to third week of August. I think that there's a potential for soft yields. Overall, I'm looking for bond market really to be pretty choppy in here and not give you a whole lot of movement, I don't think, right now. So that's a look at the Russell and TLT. Is that W Walls? I'm not sure who that is. It says, will you cover strangles or custom strangles? You know, right now we are not doing a lot as far as our options, and we are, part of what we're doing is looking to expand our team and to do much more in options. I don't really want to speak a lot about that right now. Hopefully down the road we will have some automated systems in place where we will be throwing off what we think are the best strategies for the particular conditions. That's really what we're working on, is developing that. So that's a ways down the road. For those of you who don't know what a strangle is, it's selling an out of the money call and an out of the money put. And certainly using our momentum indicators, you can think about how you might want to skew price levels, strike prices on that. There's a lot about that that could be discussed and way more, I think, than we could talk about right now. So I'm not going to really go into that right now. And it is a great question. And I really think that we're going to, you know, our focus is going to be, after we get a lot of the high priority development things done right now, that we're going to be focusing a lot more on options. Gregory is asking, are you still predicting the Nasdaq to fall at a slightly higher percentage than the S&P 500? I actually am, only because that is normal. That's usually what does happen. And now with the Nasdaq and the heavyweighted mega caps, I think in a condition to correct and later than the rest of a lot of these indexes, I think that you will see the Nasdaq underperform in a correction or have a larger decline. Lawrence says there's been a flight to safety in the last couple of months, or that's a question. It appears that the FANG is carrying the market today, and it appears that there's a rotation into REITs and utilities. Well, with the problems in China, does that mean continuation of the problems for the Russell? Yeah, that was the question that I was referring to before. I don't really, it makes sense to me that when money is flowing out of certain sectors of the market, it would be moving into flight to safety areas, which would be utilities and REITs, and certainly into bonds. And we're seeing that. So I don't, you know, when it relates to the Russell, if money's moving into safety, Russell, in my opinion, is not safe because it's the zombie stocks. It's the stocks that should, so many of them should be dead that the government saved. And the low interest rate environment should be really good for them, but they're not doing very well. So I do think that it is possible that the Russell will underperform in here. We have a question from Vips on platinum. I'll show platinum again tomorrow when we do this analysis. He wanted to know if I still think that there's some downside, or is it running out of time? When you look at this on the weekly chart, and you can see that we're getting down to where we think the bottom timing will be. When I look at the daily in here, it looks like that bottom timing is coming in right there. So here's a question. You can see in here, this almost looks like a base being formed. If it falls the next couple of days and takes out this low at 1024, then it will violate that. But you're getting this sideways action that you see right there, which is kind of the formation of a base. And it is possible that the worst is seen in here. It is also possible, based on the principle of variance, that this could bottom out over here a few weeks from now. If you look at that next cycle right over here, you'll see that that bottom's on 828. So the point I'm making is that either the bottom is right in here, and then we come up towards the resistance area, or it's in that next daily cycle and it could rally a little bit, chop around, and then make a later low than we have right over here, maybe around where that timing spike is right there. So I'm not really sure how that's going to form. I can say is that it's set up these bearish patterns beautifully. It's offered some fantastic trading opportunities, as you can see. Momentum tried to go to neutral, but it's negative again. Momentum on the weekly chart there is quite negative, as you see. So all the information in here, which has been negative, has been spectacular. All of those this recent area right in here where Slim Ribbon was giving you those signals were really valuable. So all of that says that it's got work to do before there's a bottom, but I just don't know if there's a lot more downside in here. You can see where it points down to that 78.6. If it wants to get down to that 934 level, that would, if it did that, it would probably come after an attempted rally out into August and then another failure. I'm not excited to buy it in here right now because of the silver pattern. The silver pattern's got a few weeks to go, and it's really weak. So that might be a reason to believe that if you want to do anything in platinum on the long side, it would just simply be a very, very tiny position. Deep adds, no, is there any way to bring up cycles and momentum arrows on the same chart? Well, I just showed you that. We had them on the same chart right over here in platinum. So you have the Slim Ribbon PO on the bottom, and you have the cycles here on the daily. If you're a level 4 member, you'll be able to get the Slim Ribbon PO and put that on any chart. You could even put that on the weekly, and then if that's what you're asking, the weekly cycles and the Slim Ribbon PO, then you could put it on there also. So I just prefer to use the reversal scout as the momentum indicator on the weekly and the Slim Ribbon on the daily. But some people use both. So I think that's the best way to go. Raise your hand if you use the Slim Ribbon PO on the weekly chart. Yeah, there's quite a number of people out there that use it. So, I mean, it's a fantastic indicator. So you could, test it and see which ones you like to use it on more. Enrique says, Slim, I had felt that I had the bias of the market, but did not feel the confirmation from the chart this morning, SPX. Can you explain how to understand the start of the day? Matt, this is in your wheelhouse.
Okay. I'll pull up our, so he's asking about the intraday?
Yeah, the intraday chart stream. I'm pretty sure that's what the question is on.
Sure.
So he's asking really about, he says he didn't have a good feel in the morning. And I think that's, important question about, how do you interpret what's going on in the morning and during the day on those charts?
Sure. Let me share the screen. So this is the SIR intraday grid. So this is specifically for, your intraday trader. If you're a near-term trader, I'll show you that in just a second. By near-term, I'm talking about the next, 1 to 5 days or so. But so what we do here is we evaluate the key levels and we look at upside and downside levels pre-market. So you get this from us pre-market. Now today, I did an update once I saw we violated the key support zone. It's rare that we get below those, but when we do, I usually intraday will put out something. You can see today I added some additional levels in case we really got to the downside aggressively, and we did, and we bounced. But in terms of understanding what is the day looking like, well, we use the reversal scout for our bias to help with understanding the bias for the moment or the day, however you want to call it. I wouldn't call it the day because this can shift intraday. But as you can tell here, this was a very good indication that on the bounces or the small rallies that we got. So we came through several acceleration zones, and then those acceleration zones became resistance as we bounced back up, and the reversal scout stayed negative, therefore suggesting that there was still room to fall. And as we really got oversold into the day, you can see that this support level acted as some support. And then as the day rolled on, reversal scout turned positive, and then we get a rally to the close. So that's how we look at it intraday. I hope that helps. You can see in the Nasdaq too is the same thing. Day on the gap, reversal scout turns negative, stays negative. Really, if you're an intraday trader and any bounces that came and you're looking at shorter term time frames for some entries, it's very helpful to know that reversal scout is negative. Went through several, went through this, several acceleration zones. Add new levels into there because of that price action that happened. And you can see same thing on the Russell here. If you're a, let me find my SPY here. If you're a near-term trader, you're looking at the next 1 to say 5 sessions, and you use our chart streams. We look at the 2-hour to get a sense of our bias. The reversal scout's a little more sensitive than the ribbon. So we look to either one of those to help with our bias. You can see here with the SPY that we came into some support. We got a little rally, and then the reversal scout gave us a signal, positive, slim ribbon confirmed, and then we get this jump up. So that's why we're talking about 1 to 5 sessions. This was a nice couple session trade, and then got into that key fib level, pulled back. So I hope that's helpful. Those are the 2 key time frames that we use to help get a sense of directional bias for the day or the near term.
Great. I have a question. Somebody is asking about orange lines. I don't even know what the reference is. So if you take a screenshot and send it to team at askSlim.com, they'll send it to us, and we'll be able to help you with what that is. Thanks for that, Matt. Let me just buzz through a few more here.
No problem.
We won't be able to take any more questions, guys and gals. We don't have many gals on here. Where are all the women traders? Yeah, Enrique, you asked about orange lines. So I don't know what you're referring to. So please do send us a screenshot on that question. We have 2 or 3 questions on Bitcoin. So I'm going to switch over to Bitcoin and do that analysis. So our analysis in Bitcoin has been really good over these last months as we saw this formation of this bottom forming here. Now, while we saw this momentum never give ground in here whatsoever, there's no way that I predicted this kind of an upside move. So I don't get any credit for that for sure. But right around over here is where I said that really looked like a top, and we were getting into this period of what I called the great crypto crash. So I'll tell you right now that besides the fact that I turned positive right here at the bottom, I think this is still the first wave of the crypto crash right in here. And there's another one right over here, and there'll be another big oval, yellow oval somewhere out over here in towards the end of the year. Let's just talk about where we are right now. So you'll see the reversal scout right over here. When you see it turn up on the weekly chart, there's a high probability it's confirming the expected bottom, which was right here in the nested area. You'll see in here where the peak came, right over there, that this downward turn in momentum there signaled it was highly likely that that was the peak. So you had very, very nice action. Now, we predicted that it would lose a 1/3 to, I hate that word, predicted. Anyway, the analysis suggested that it would be moving down through this period as it did. When it made this low over here, we thought it would try again, as you can see right over here, and that's what it did. Right in here, it built a base on the daily chart, which was a tell for us. When you get a base cycle that forms on a shorter time frame, it tells you, you learn about what happens on the next longer time frame. You can learn about that in the cycle analysis workshop where I talk about multiple time frames. So I think that's very important. Now, here is where here is where that base formed right in there. And when a base is forming, we almost always label it so that you know right there. And base cycles on short term, on the daily, form around bottoms on the weekly. That's a very, very important lesson. Then when you get above this level right here, it confirms that this actually was a base. You could see the momentum changing right in here on the daily chart. And now we are in a condition where dips are buys. And there's a fairly good chance that this is going to be moving up towards that 42.5, 43,000 level right over here. So, I'm always going to be, my gut says that we're in a crypto crash and that these are valueless, basically, in my opinion. With 8,000 cryptocurrencies out there, the whole idea of scarcity is bullcrap. They can create as many cryptocurrencies as they want. And regulatory agencies around the world are going to be crushing these things. That aside, this is a bullish opportunity. And what we look for now is for any pullbacks into this area to be a buy zone. This is a buy zone for multiple reasons. When I look at the weekly chart, it has turned up, as you can see right in here. The momentum conditions have turned up. The base cycle was formed. It creates through swing high, swing low analysis, a buy area which should not get under. If it did, it would be giving some more negative indications. But if it fell in the next couple of days, let's say down to 35,000, I could see it easily getting up to 40,000 again right in there. So we're in a condition that is positive that should last at least for a couple of these cycles. And you can see that we're looking for, choppy or bullish bias action, and here a pullback and then coming up again after that. So I think, over 40,000 a few times is probably going to happen. This is probably a pretty good a pattern in there to be looking for the long side. So I'm not shy about saying I want to buy something no matter how much my gut says something is really bad. And this is definitely a pattern that is buyable, not saleable. Jules says Bitcoin is great trading for many people. And that is true, Jules. It certainly is. RS asks, is there a correlation between the crypto market and the stock market? And what do you think about cryptos at this point? Sorry for chuckling on that one. You get the idea of what I think about cryptos. And I don't think there's a great correlation between cryptos and the stock market right now. If there's anything that might be a correlation, it's that it seems to be stealing the thunder from gold at the moment. Jim says Apple is dipping heavy. I haven't seen Apple since the beginning of the show. So Arvi, where is Apple right now? Is it getting hit hard?
It's down about $4 in the
$4. All right. Well, that makes me happy. Sorry about you long side investors, but I need that correction to come so I could do the big picture analysis. M. Ford says, I'm on TOS, trade coffee, but unable to look at KC. That's because you don't have ICE. So you have to pay the extra money to do that. That is correct. Do we still do the ETF, Harvey? We do, don't we?
No, we aren't doing Joe because
Oh.
we don't have the weekly chart updating. So it's, there's not a lot of information.
Oh, okay. So the answer to that is no. So the only updates we're doing on coffee is in Future Speak now. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gregory, you asked, how does one know if you put out an update like this? I didn't see you mention it. I don't even know what you're asking about. So please send your question to team@askSlim.com. Oh, Enrique, I think you just said, we corrected, what are the orange lines on the SPY chart? Let me go there and see.
Slim, I think he's referencing in the chart streams, it's the daily high lows.
Oh, is that what it was on chart streams?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so then we don't need this.
No, that just represents the.
So it's daily high low. We have a couple
daily
more
high
questions
lows
in here. Oh, Toby, I'm not going to tell anybody. Toby's a gal. Welcome. I love to have the female traders on here. Actually, when I was on Tasty Trade, I did a special show where I brought in women traders. because I wanted to prove to the world that there are women traders out there that were successful. So I knew some great women traders on the CBOE back in the day. So I would love to figure out how to do something, especially to attract the women traders to the askSlim environment. Toby says she's new to trading and has been a geek for decades. Well, welcome, and we are so happy to have you here. We're, let's see, almost out of questions in here. CCJ, is that, what is that? Is that, am I reading that right? Do we have CCJ?
CCJ, yeah. Let me see. Let me just pull it up. Yeah, it's Chemico Corp. I don't know if that's how you say it, but
Chemical, yeah.
Chemico, yeah.
Uranium.
Yep. Yeah, I have that. I'll pull it up for a sec. Okay.
All right.
So this is CCJ. URA is in green. So we highlighted this, I think, in the last webinar too. There's a lot of interest in CCJ. So what we're looking at is a little unclear. So we're looking for a low to form. It's unclear if this was the low and then we had already had a failure, or if it's just a little bit late and then we would look for a rally here. So a little bit unclear as to where that low would form, and I'll show you that on the daily.
I'll take window number 2.
Yeah, and what we're looking for is this to rally and then pull back one more time into that next key low, which is due out in November of this year. If you look at the daily, you can see why we're really looking likely what Slim just said, which is likely a late low. We have these long daily cycles, very clear, right? The rally, the sell-off, rally. This is super clear. I mean, extremely clear. So right now, bottom was due. We're in this rising phase, getting a little bit of a rally, not a huge lift so far. We do have earnings coming up, 7:28 in the pre-market. So watch that. But looking for a little bit higher here in the short term in CCJ.
You got a lot of charts, Harvey.
I got a lot of charts. That's what I do all day. So.
Okay. All right. We're wrapping up in here. A couple more things. Joe, you're asking about silver. We're out of time. I'm going to show that tomorrow in Future Speak. We had a question regarding the monthly cycles. I'm gonna do a little marketing right here. The monthly patterns, basically I'm the holder of that analysis, and I do a lot of it, and I have basically the main ones that we look at in Future Speak, like oil and gold and silver and the stock market and those things. We don't really publish those, and those are held for special videos or for our level 4 members if they request those, and then we'll send you the monthly work. So yes, we have a lot of them. I keep those fairly up to date. So level 4 members can ask for longer term, those monthly charts. I want to let you people know that Friday is a travel day for me. I'll send an email out on that. So there will be no market week this week. Sorry to have you miss that. Next time I'll be doing a video will be this Wednesday. Guys, this was a good show.
Great show. Thank you guys so much for coming. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great engagement with the members. Always fun.
Right. And don't forget, I'm going to do something on August 24th. That's going to be fantastic. I hope that we see you there. All right, that's it, guys.
Thank you.